I think a lot of times we get stuck here, right? Like, oh, well, the brand is paying me X for a social media post, so I'm going to give them a social media post. No, you want to always over deliver. And so I, a lot of times will on purpose, like under promise in a contract, like, yeah, I'm going to give you a social media post on Instagram and a newsletter blast as part of your event sponsorship.
Welcome back to Hot Tea with Uma and Bree, where we spill the real tea on entrepreneurship, building businesses, and creating opportunities from the expertise you already have. Today, we're talking about something a lot of healthcare professionals, coaches, and wellness entrepreneurs want to know more about: brand partnerships. And no, we're not talking about becoming a full-time influencer, needing 100,000 followers before a brand will actually take you seriously. There are ways to build meaningful paid partnerships with brands just by leveraging your expertise, your audience, your credibility, and your unique perspective. So today we're breaking down what brands are really looking for, how to find and pitch the right opportunities, how to think about getting paid, and how to make sure the partnerships you take on actually align with your business and your values. And we have the perfect person to help us unpack all of this. Amy Gorin is an award-winning plant-based media dietitian, CEO and founder of Master the Media, and one of the most quoted dietitians in America. She's completed and written more than 2,000 media interviews, that is crazy, and bylined articles with her expertise, appearing in outlets including Today, the New York Times, the Washington Post, CBS, NBC, People, and Food Network. Amy, welcome to Hot Tea with Uma and Bree. We are so excited to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And I have my coffee, not my tea.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. Listen, absolutely.
You're with the program already. We love it.
You came prepared. I love it. So before we get into all the business and media tea, we have to acknowledge that you're also a new mom to Annabelle, who's 13 months old, and you have 2 Bengal cats. So yeah. Amy, how are you doing?
And like, I don't know if you guys know what Bengal cats are, but they're part wildcat. They're like actually crazy. And so the other day, my cat jumped from the window like straight onto my head, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is life.
Oh my gosh. Newborn trenches and Bengal cat trenches. What a combination.
Like honestly, being an entrepreneur and making your own schedule and having a baby, like it's amazing. Oh, yeah. I can't imagine going to work and coming home and like spending an hour with her a day. That sounds
I
nice.
know. Well, congratulations.
Thank
Happy
you.
new mom life. So, Bree, you want to take us in?
Let's get right into it, because I got lots of questions. I'm going to just say that right now. And I know that you see me over, I'm like literally waiting to like let all of it out, because I know there are a lot of people that have similar questions. Because when Uma and I go to conferences and we're talking to people specifically in like the sports fitness space, we get questions like this about media, about brand partnerships and things like that. And I know Uma and I have kind of fell into that by just kind of partnering with brands that maybe come to us or whatever. So I really want to tap into your thoughts. The first question really is the follower count, right? So a lot of people think that you need a huge following to work with brands. So I know they might see Uma and I, and they might be like, how are y'all doing this? And we're like, you don't need all that. So like, give us your thoughts, Amy.
We're a great example of not having a lot of followers.
Okay.
And we're proud of it.
Like, what is my follower count? As long as you're an expert in something, and it could be, I'm a dietitian, you could be a dietitian, you could be a doctor, you could be a house organizer, you could be an interior decorator. You don't have to be a healthcare expert, although that's, everyone has to have a niche. That's what my niche is, helping healthcare experts get brand partnerships. But the difference between someone who has an expertise and, the influencer is the influencer literally gets paid because they have millions of followers and they post and they influence people to buy. Like, that is the definition of what they do. They don't need any credentials. Now, you or me, we could post or not post. We could, I say that because you don't even need a social media presence. You could have the brand show up, like post your video on their platform and it never goes live on your platform. And they're using your credentials to influence buyers in a different way to purchase their products. And I say a different way because it's not trackable. Like the way that an influencer works is they share a link. It's usually trackable. The brand can say, oh, Sally, the influencer, has 100 million followers. I mean, that's a lot. And they posted and they made, 1 million sales to that. And you could post a link and you could get literally 0 sales, but it's not 0 because what you're doing is, the person who read your post on this brand and doesn't even remember your name goes to the grocery store 6 months later and they buy the product that you were posting about because they remember somebody with expertise said something good about this product, and that's not trackable, but it's still influence.
So good.
So well put.
Yeah,
Truly.
I love that. I think it's one of those things where that right there alone will dismantle a lot of people's anxiety about, being able to even work in this space. So I appreciate you sharing that, because the expertise, we're always telling people like, you have credentials, like you're the expert in this space, but still I think there's that imposter syndrome sometime when they think about the media space.
Yeah. And I mean, it's and there's always going to be a brand who overemphasizes something, and like they want you to have a certain follower count, and I'd say that's 1 out of like 50 brands that I come across. And the rest of the time, I mean, I break all the rules that we were taught. Like I follow people back, which you're not supposed to do if you're an influencer.
Love that. I love that. So with that being said, like, as a healthcare professional, coach, wellness entrepreneur, like what are brands actually looking for? I mean, you kind of tapped into that a bit, the credibility piece, but
honestly, and I mean, I want to broaden the conversation, because if you're, whoever's listening out there, we're not just talking about social media. If you're like, hey, I never want my face on Instagram, you could write a blog post for a brand, or you could even help them create their messaging behind the scenes, and your name never even shows up on the brand's website. But what the brands are looking for is authenticity. So they want to know that you actually know their product. You probably are a user of it, and if you have patients, you probably recommend the product, and you truly believe in the product. And so I say that because I have turned down, honestly, hundreds of thousands of partnership dollars for products that I'm like, I wouldn't feed that to my family. I wouldn't eat that myself. Right. And this might be a great fit for my colleague who does something totally different than me, but it's not a fit for me. So first ask yourself, do I, would I feed this to myself and my family? If the brand sends you samples, and they should before you work with them, actually feed it to yourself and your family. Right. Would I recommend this to patients? Do I like the ingredients? And then most importantly, do I agree with the brand's messaging? So what I mean by that is we could be talking about an apple, like the US Apple Board. But if they wanted you to say apples cure cancer, which they don't, that's not a good fit for a partnership, because that's exaggerating the research. But if they want you to say something that's actually true, like, apples have fiber. When you eat them, they help you feel fuller, especially when you pair them with something like peanut butter, which has protein.
Yum.
Awesome. Exactly.
I'm hungry.
And above that, they want you to have expertise and credentials. And that could be, like I said, in anything. Like you could be a dietitian, a doctor, a personal trainer, a coach. Literally, I think sometimes we undersell ourselves, in our expertise. And I'm just going to stop there.
Totally agree.
I mean, we could have a whole nother show, an episode on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, that's the thing. It's like the expertise alone is so important. And, I love how you kind of broke down what to look for when you are looking at brands and trying to figure out if it is going to be a good fit. On the flip side, I know a lot of healthcare professionals are kind of going back and forth on niching, not niching. How important is that in the media space or brand partnership space?
I am so glad you brought that up. It is so important. It's so important that it's literally the first thing we do in Master the Media when we're, when someone, and Uma knows this firsthand because she's been in our
amazing program, guys, amazing program.
But the very first thing we have you do is figure out what your niche is. And this process always takes like people always get a little stuck here, but we have an amazing marketing instructor who helps you get unstuck. And the reason is because, and it's funny, my husband's actually a Master of the Media student right now. He was like, I want to be a media personality. So I'm like,
that's
join
great.
Masters of
Cool.
Media.
Yes.
And he just submitted his niching exercise, and he's like, Amy, the instructor told me I need to get more narrow. And I'm like, I know. I'm not surprised.
Listen to the instructor.
Yeah, because he has diabetes, and he's like, I want to work with people with diabetes.
Yeah.
Get more narrow, like people.
Yeah, right.
You know, he has adult onset type 1, so that's your niche is adults with you know, type 1, and perhaps you could add their families into that mix. It feels scary to say I'm going to focus on this really narrow category and not focus on the rest. But what happens is there's a lot of overlap. So like we have a student in our program, and her specialty is gut health. She's a gut health dietitian, but she's also a vegan. And so some of her partnerships, even though it's not what she really sees patients about, end up being, you know, about plant-based products. And that makes sense for your life. You know, same thing for, you know, those of us with babies, Bree and me, you know, we could partner with like Mom Cozy and, you know, during
Come on, Mom Cozy. Yeah. That's great. Listen, we're so unserious clearly on this pod.
We really
That's fantastic.
are. Like, seriously. I do have a kind of a question to piggyback on this whole concept though of niche.
Yeah.
So what would you say for the people you kind of touched on a little bit that maybe have a dual specialty? For instance, like myself, like that is an expert in multiple areas. Niching, how does one do that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Let's actually just use you as a case study. So,
Okay.
you know your audience knows what you do, but tell us anyway, what are your areas of specialty?
Okay, so I am a performance dietitian, sports dietitian, and I really work primarily with youth athletes. I have a little bit of everything else dabbled in, but that's currently who I work with primarily. And I'm also a fitness coach. And so I can do programming. I've done everything from one-on-one. While that's not something I'm doing a majority of in this moment, I can speak to both worlds confidently. I have the credibility to do so.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a perfect example because your niches overlap so beautifully. You know, you're working with athletes and they need to know about nutrition and they need to know about, you know, their actions and, you know, training and all that jazz. And so for you, I mean, I know you're already doing this really, like you can easily combine those and say, you know, you like, hey, I'm Uma. I can help you with your performance. And I mean, I can help you with what you fuel your body with and also your training regimen, you know, and that overlaps really, really perfectly. So it's kind of like they're two separate niches, but they're not really. You can really just encompass them into one and make your niche more narrow. For someone like me, like I have my plant-based nutrition audience and I have Master of the Media, which is where we media train healthcare professionals how to work with brands. And I have two separate Instagram accounts for those and two separate websites, but I do a lot of collaborations between the audiences because my main goal right now isn't to grow plant-based with Amy. It's to use that audience to get more people into the Master of the Media world. So it depends a little bit on what your goal is. And, you know, if you want two entirely separate things, that is totally fine. I would just say start with one at a time. Don't try and 100% get both off the ground and start working with brands in both capacity because you're going to get overwhelmed really fast. Start with the priority one.
That's so good.
Thanks for sharing
I'm glad
that.
you shared that. I think we've
course.
talked about that before about like, you know, if you have different passions or different niches, you know, or should you kind of have two separate areas where you're putting that information? And I think that is so valuable, especially in the media and brand partnership space, because it's like, you've got to be clear on who you want to work with and, you know, that kind of aligns with your niche. So
100%.
I want to, so that leads me to the next question in regard to like pitching, right? So when you have finally niche down, like you know what you are into and maybe you've even like sought out some brands or whatever, but you're just not sure. You're not sure how to pitch. You're not sure what the process is like. Like, how do you even begin? Should you wait for them to come to you? Do you go to them? What are your thoughts?
Please, please, please do not wait for them to come to you. You're going to be waiting and waiting and waiting, and you might be lucky and have like your dream partnership fall into your lap, but it's going to be a once in a gazillion kind of thing. I've been doing this for over a decade, and I still pitch the partnerships that I really want, because the reality is, if you have an idea and you're like, oh, that's so obvious, and I worked with Panda Express. I'm going to use that as an example. You guys have great ingredients. You can make your menu healthier, though. So people who, are kind of that health conscious consumer can also, say, oh, this is a fast, easy meal. That's obvious to me. It wasn't obvious to them. And so I brought that idea to them. It's like, hey, I have this idea. Let's reduce, this was like, 6 years ago. Let's reduce your added sugar, reduce your added sodium, like do all these things to make just little tweaks. They're like, that's a great idea. We're going to actually create a consulting budget. And so I wrote them like a 70-something page paper. And then they were like, you know what? Let's make this public. Let's have you be our spokesperson and spread the word about this. And so that entire opportunity, a 2-year partnership, was because I brought an idea to them, and it does go that, I will say, that opportunity came about because they contacted me for a different opportunity that I didn't end up getting, which is totally fine. It wasn't the right fit, but because I had their ear, why waste the time,
Good. That's so good. With that, that's honestly an amazing example, especially the last piece that you said about, hey, this wasn't for me, but I still was on their radar. I think a lot of times professionals can get discouraged maybe if they do reach out and they maybe don't get selected for an opportunity, or they get turned down for whatever it is that they're pitching. What would you say is the best approach to pitching? Because
and I think before
sending a DM, sending a random email,
I just want to add a little bit of a, we'll call it a confidence boost. It's just, the more you pitch, the tougher your skin is going to become, and you're gonna you just kind of, I have come to think of rejection as, honestly, like, it's a good thing, because you can't, if I pitch 100 brands this month, I can't possibly work with 100 brands. I don't want them all to say yes. But, it's that education process of like, oh, thanks for pitching me, Amy. We're not a fit right now, but we have this partnership coming up in 12 months that might be a good fit. And so you're getting yourself set up for the future. So I just want to say that, because it feels like really, the first couple of times you get rejected, but then after that, like, I don't know, I just brush it off. I'm like, it's part of my day. Like, every day I get rejected, and I'm okay with it. But every day I also get, the opposite of rejected, and that's awesome too.
And I just want to say to those of you who are listening, someone like Amy saying that, hey, she gets rejected still, you know what I mean? Like, that's I feel like that's a big deal, because you are who you are. You've obviously said all of the things, all of your accolades of what you've done and accomplished. And even now, I mean, it's not always a yes, but it could be a yes in the future or for another opportunity.
Yeah. And I always give the example I love to use is, right now, it's August, and our big event for Master the Media happens in October in conjunction with Fancy, which is the big conference for dietitians. And so I pitch over 1,000 brands to be sponsors for the event, and we can have 5 to 10 sponsors. Like, that is the max. So do the math, and probably when I say 1,000, it's more like 5,000, literally.
Yeah.
So
That's
I'm
so good.
expecting either, 4,990 ignores or no's to get those like 5 to 10 yeses.
That's great. That makes me think about, like, in the one-to-one space, even when working with clients, like when it comes to marketing and things like that, like you might put out, 100 touch points, and you might only get 1 to 10 clients from those touch points. And it sounds like it's the same with the media too.
It's literally like dating, because like you don't want 10 husbands or 100 husbands,
Amen. Listen,
some do.
I mean,
some people do.
Okay, well,
just kidding. Most of us don't.
Oh my gosh,
that is
that's
so
great.
True.
Yeah. So with that being said, Amy, I know we kind of talked about how to weed out brands that fit and brands that don't. So, what makes a good pitch? Like, because I know some folks are, Uma said it, some folks are sliding in the DMs like, hey, let's partner, but what makes a good pitch?
And this is where I don't want to say never pitch through the DMs, but almost never pitch through the DMs. So I'm going to tell you my process, and it does take a little bit more work than just sending a DM to a brand, but you want to get into the brand's email box and not just like the general, public relations inbox. You want to find the actual person who makes the decisions at the brand. And it could be the brand itself, or it could be an agency that supports the brand. And so those are the two different options. And sometimes brands have both, and it's a little confusing. But so when I say do the research, like you want to go up, like LinkedIn is really your best resource for this. And so the bigger you can grow your LinkedIn community, the more people you can find on there. But you're looking for a title, like if it's in-house at the brand, like PR manager, public relations, communication, something with like a manager or director title with one of those keywords. Sometimes it's partnership, or even influencer can be all encompassing for healthcare partnerships. And so you're trying, you want to find their actual contact information and send them an email. And your goal is here is to pitch them something that is not something that they would have come up with themselves. And this is the same, like these are the same rules that we use for media. Like when I was an editor at, magazines back in the day, it was always like the only writer pitches I would say yes to were the ones where I couldn't have thought of that myself, or I didn't think of it myself. And so it could be something as simple as, hey, I saw on your website that you don't have any healthcare professional testimonials. Let me help you with that because I love your product and I could be the face of it. And maybe they just hadn't thought of featuring healthcare professionals as testimonials. Or it could be something more targeted, like, oh, this gluten-free flour is amazing, and I swap it out one for one in the recipes I use, but most people don't know that. So let me create a recipe guide that you could use as a free download for your website, and you can use it to collect email addresses and grow your email list. And you have my name as a registered dietitian on your product. And I mean, it sounds so complicated to think of, but it's, the more you kind of do this thought process of how can I help a brand with my unique skills and credentials, you'll start to think of these ideas really quickly.
Love that. What would you say for touch points? So send out the pitch. Some time has gone by. Should people follow up? If so, when? How many times?
Yeah, so this is one of the things that my Master of the Media students, when they first start, they like freak out about. They're like, Amy, I sent 5 pitches last week and I haven't heard back. And I'm like, what day last week? Thursday. What day is it today? Monday. So it's been like a few days. And so it feels like eternity to you. But I always just like, kind of, you set it and forget it. So I put a calendar reminder. If I send a pitch, I'm like, okay, depending on what the pitch is, if it's super timely, like I'm pitching myself to do a TV segment and it's like something that's happening in 2 weeks, it's a local race or something, I might follow up a week or half a week later. But if it's something where there's no timeliness to it, 4 to 6 weeks is your first follow-up. After that, you could do 2 or 3 weeks, and then you kind of have to sort of call it a day after a couple follow-ups. Like 2 or 3 follow-ups is really it.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's really helpful. Good. So,
or switch contacts. Maybe you contacted someone who's no longer at the company and think about that too. Yeah.
That's a really good point. That's hop into. And you mentioned like, also, I know if for Gmail, sometimes they'll even give you an alert that says, hey, do you want to follow up on this email? So there might even be some tech that can support that.
Yeah. I would say be cautious with that because I know like my, the way my Gmail like does that, the automated, it's like, it literally sends the same email again, whether someone actually replied to it or not.
Gosh.
And when I get those, I'm like, oh, do you know what you're doing?
Yeah. Like, please don't. Okay. Well, see that takes me to my next question. With the students that you've worked with, what are some of the biggest mistakes you've seen when it comes to pitching to brands?
That's a great question. And honestly, like the biggest, and I'll just like use air quotes, mistakes are just honestly not pitching enough. A lot of people come into Master of the Media and they're like, well, I need to do X, Y, and Z before I can do pitch brands. And it's like, no. You started Master of the Media yesterday. Watch these 3 videos that will take you, 2 or 3 hours, and you can start pitching brands tomorrow. And so do not wait because, same thing with dating. When I met my husband, I like went on 100 first dates or so. And I just kept on. I wasn't like sitting around being like, you know, I'm going to walk into a grocery store and meet someone. Like, that's not reality. I mean, kudos
Right.
to someone who it is for. But you need to put yourself out there, start the process of those rejections, build up your skin and
Yep.
start getting those yeses, because you're not going to get yeses until you get no's.
So good. That's
Mm,
the
I
tea right
like that.
there.
That's a whole
Mm-hmm.
bar.
Yeah, bar.
It really
Mic
is.
drop.
Okay, well, let's now kind of shift gears and talk about getting paid, of course,
Come on
because
now.
Yes.
this can be very much, and I can just say, just after completing Amy's program, which, guys, I'm going to keep saying it, I highly recommend to be formally media trained. It's worth it. It's very lucrative. It can be a very lucrative opportunity, right?
Yes.
So how should professionals determine their rates, with that being said?
Yeah, and let's just like take a second to talk about, like, I know everyone's probably like, Amy, how, Uma, Bree, how lucrative are we talking? A couple hundred, a couple thousand? Can we even shoot for the stars and say a couple 100,000? It can literally be a couple 100,000, even like millions. Like, I have earned, and I've been doing this for about 10 years, over $2 million from brand partnerships. And that is not my only source of income,
Yep.
which is
That part.
crazy. Like, it's crazy because
Mhm.
but it's not, because like you could work for a brand and do, let's just say, a blog post, which is like, that's going to take you more time than a social media post. So like 2 or 3 hours max. You write a blog post, it has your credentials on it. The brand wants to have it on their website for 6 months, and they also want you to post it on your website. That could be $5,000, and that's like one of the smallest ticket items. If you are the face for a brand on national TV, $7,000 to $10,000, and that theoretically takes you a couple of hours of time. In reality, it probably takes you a few days to actually prep all the talking points and get your hair and makeup done and all that. But this is where it just adds up and adds up and adds up. And in my second year of being a dietitian, and this is literally how Master the Media came to be. I just started working with brands, and all of a sudden I found myself like earning almost $300,000 in my second year. And so then people were just like, hey, how are you doing this? And that's how Master the Media came to be. But like, that is how lucrative it can be.
I am so, y'all, listeners, you guys know we don't gatekeep things on this podcast. Y'all know
Never,
we're
ever.
sharing the tea always. Like, we'll keep it 100 always. And so, Amy, I am so glad you shared that, because I know when I was not new in dietetics, but a brand partnership came to my table. And at first I was like, I don't know, I don't have a ton of experience in this area, but I have these few videos that I did for this course. Like, let's see if they'll like it. And it ended up being a very lucrative partnership. So I am really glad that you've said not only can they be lucrative, but you also don't need, you can start today. Like, this is something that you can enroll in your program and you can literally start pitching to brands.
And first of all, congratulations on that partnership. That sounds amazing. But this is why, we're going back to, you don't have to be, and you shouldn't be. I mean, I have never worked with anyone who is an influencer by like the actual definition of an influencer. And that's why you can start today and tomorrow, because there's no precursor. You don't even need to be on social media. You don't need a website. All you need is yourself and your credentials and your expertise.
Yeah.
Love it. So how do people determine their rates? I mean, it's obviously a little bit different based upon experience. What should they be looking into with these opportunities to determine what those rates are?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And I'm just going to, in the show notes, I'm going to give you guys a link to our free pricing guide, which helps explain all this in more detail. But basically, there's ranges. And, let's just use the example of, we're talking about an Instagram post. And I could tell you the range for an Instagram post is $1,000 to, say, $7,500. And that range depends on so many different variables. Is it just on one platform? Like, is it just on Instagram? Are you cross-posting it to Facebook and YouTube and TikTok? Is it just on your platform, or is it also on the brands? Is the brand running ads? If the answer is yes, that number could climb to even $15,000 because,
Mm-hmm.
or even more, and that's where I don't want to say things get crazy, but they get
Right.
awesome because
Yeah.
you could literally not have an Instagram. I mean, you need an Instagram account, but you could have like 2 followers on Instagram, create a video for a brand, and they could run ads with it. And I mean, they're using your name and credentials and likeness and image to get customers, and they're going to pay
Exactly.
a couple $1,000s at least a month for that.
So good. That's so
Yeah.
helpful. I know. So, with pricing and kind of setting your rates, I know some conversations that I have had with some healthcare professionals is they're kind of afraid to charge their worth because they think they may get underbidded, quote unquote, by
Mm.
someone who is willing to take free product in exchange for Instagram post or whatever. So, how can you
Yeah.
encourage
Yeah.
those that want to charge their rate?
Yeah. I mean, is it going to happen? Are you going to get underbid? Absolutely. But this goes back to the whole rejection is totally fine. It's actually a good thing. And B, like, you don't want 1,000 clients. You want like less than 10, probably 5,
So good.
And so
Yeah.
it's the same thing with Master the Media. Like, we are a premium product, but we give, like, we probably spend half of our enrollment fee on our students because that's how much we care and, hire high caliber instructors. And so I don't want 1,000,000 students. I want, like the 100 or so that we have right now, because I can give them the attention they deserve. And same thing when you're working with a brand, you can give the brand the attention they deserve. So
That's good.
I have been underbid. Like, I literally have had a contract in hand and had it yanked away from like someone else who like quoted half the price.
Mm.
It's fine. Like, it stings a little for like a second, and then you're like, well, I don't think this partnership was meant to be because they just want the
Period.
cheapest person. They don't want the best fit for this project.
That's good. That's
so good, because I can tell you, and for those of you that are listening, do not undercharge just for the sake of getting a partnership.
Thank
You
you.
know, the whole clout, oh, I'm posting and now I'm with this brand, and ooh, no, don't undercharge. Listen to what Amy just said. It's better to have a few clients that really know your worth and are really willing to utilize you and your credentials, your name, image, and likeness, versus lowballing yourself for the sake of getting a partnership.
I'm going to also add that there's exceptions to everything. And right now,
Amy.
So right now, so my husband and I got married during COVID, and we didn't have like an actual wedding reception in person. And so we're having our big like vow renewal, which is basically a wedding this year.
Congrats.
So I was like, thank you. So I was like, let's just see, like, I'm going to utilize my list of contacts. Like, I have like 12,000 brands on my like Rolodex.
Wow.
Like, let me just see what, we might be able to get for free for like, let's give gift bags instead of party favors. And like, let's have, premium coffee beans and things like that. And so
good.
I'm about a quarter of the way through going through that list, and I have $35,000 in like free product. So I am posting on Instagram about those products.
For sure.
But I'm okay with
that. That's a great example. That's a great example of, for sure.
When it aligns,
that's
I think that's the most important part. It's like, you can do things for free as long as they align with whatever you're trying to achieve. And I think people sometimes confuse that with, oh, I just really want to work with this brand. They're offering me this exchange of like product for a post. And it's like, there's a difference between doing it with intention and just doing it just so that you can say that you have a partnership with a brand.
Yeah. And don't do something for free for like $10 a product. Have it be meaningful. Like, I've done free partnerships for like, a really expensive organic mattress that I really wanted.
Ooh, listen.
I'm okay with that. It was over $1,000.
Yep, I'll take it.
Absolutely.
I'll take it any day.
For real.
But for me, that helps the whole profession, right? When people are, charging their rate, or if they're doing something in exchange for something that really matters to them or something that's really meaningful, it's like, help us help you,
Yeah.
y'all.
Yeah,
Just
and
help
you can
everybody.
get creative. Like I've known someone who like their kid really loved this product that was like impossible to get, and so they're like, "Hey, brand, can I do X for you? And you can get me this impossible product that will make my kids so happy." And I mean, there's like, I have a $5,000 coffee machine I traded for. There's things that like, it's like I always say it's my favorite inanimate object in my house. But like the point is, you can actually be really creative with this, and it's just fun more than anything else, and you're getting paid, by the way.
So good. So good.
Love it, love it, love it. So we kind of tapped into paid partnerships versus free products, and ultimately, alignment's important. And I think that sometimes too, something that I do remember you mentioned in your program was how like doing an event and having that kind of exchange can eventually lead to something bigger, correct?
Yeah, so I think what you're alluding to is so there's you can run an event and have it sponsored, and there's a million types of events. Like we have our event at Fancy where we bring in about 200 media dietitians, and we have brands sponsoring the experience. We've had students in Master the Media who are doing culinary demos to like a local organization, and so the local organization maybe is a nonprofit and can't pay them, but then they could get a brand sponsor to actually pay them. But what I always say when you want to have an event that whether it's annual or you want to have just something similar in the future. So my approach to this is the first time you run the event, consider it your beta. It's your test run. You're not there to make the most money you possibly can. You're there to get proof of concept. It's the same thing when you're launching anything, right? If you're getting customers too, like you're there to get proof of concept, testimonials, and word of mouth. And so, for instance, about 2 years ago, we ran our first Master the Media retreat, and I want to do more in the future. Had a baby, so that's on pause. And so
change.
So that first year we had a sponsor that paid less than I would normally charge for a sponsorship. I think they paid like $3,000 or $3,500. And then every other sponsor, we had about 10 other brands provide product for free. And those were called in kind because they weren't paying, but they were still sponsors. And so I was totally okay with that because, we made a little extra money for the event. I could get a little more bougie with the retreat. We hired a sound healer and had like, a nice meditation exercise. But in the future, I can use those testimonials from the brands and that really good experience and all the pictures of the, retreat people being happy, and I can charge more. And so that's the whole process of, you eventually build to what you ultimately want to charge. It's the same thing like when we launched Master the Media. I think our first group was like $3,000, and now we're an $8,000 program. And, obviously it's gotten more robust, but you can't start charging your premium prices day one.
Right.
That's good. I love that you mentioned, beta and testing things out and getting that proof of concept. Listeners, we've been putting y'all on game because we talked about beta a long time ago when we were talking about building your businesses and rolling out packages. So I love that you said that because that is something that literally bounces from one category to the other, and you really can apply it in every space in which you're working in as a healthcare professional.
Yeah. I mean, and it could be literally anywhere. Like the makeup artist I hired for my vow renewal, she's about 3 times the prices of the first time I hired her years ago for like a broadcast, day that I was doing. So good for her. She got those testimonials and now she can charge more.
So good.
That's amazing.
So good. So
love that.
The last, I think, one of the things I really want to kind of touch on before we kind of help people maybe even kind of set up their first paid partnership and kind of put an action plan in place, like let's talk about those long-term partnerships. Because I know sometimes you come across a brand or they come to you and it's kind of a one-off thing, but you want to build something a little more robust. Maybe you want to continue the partnership for a couple of years. Like, how do you kind of build that relationship out, figure out who's the right brand to build a long-term relationship with, and then how do you kind of keep it authentic?
I love this question because ultimately this is your goal. And I think that it's really easy to lose sight of this. Like, I just want all the brands. I want, but if you say, like for me, a brand that I use all the time is Amy's Kitchen. Haha, it's like my name. It has my name. But I had, I've worked with them for like a few different years in a row on different projects because they have, they have different needs and goals, and the world changes every year. But that was my goal. Like, I was like, I've loved these products for 20 years. I don't want to just do like a one and done social media post, And so it's that whole value exchange. Like, you're bringing value to the brand, and you're also bringing ideas. Maybe they come to you and say, hey, can you do a social media post? But then you have their ear. And so you can, once you do that first project, like, hey, I was doing research on your brand, and I also have these other ideas. Can we touch base to talk about them? And maybe, I've had brands where it took several months, even several years sometimes, for a brand to create that long-term budget. But I've had brands literally create like $50,000 budgets to work with me because I come to them with these ideas and they want that long-term partnership. And sometimes, like, I've signed contracts for like a 3-year partnership, and they're like, hey, we just need to get this money out the door. Can we pay you everything in year 1? And sometimes that happens, and
Come
that's
on.
awesome.
We'll take it.
Give it.
Take it, Amy.
But your goal when you're working with brands is to be the best possible partner you can be. And so I think a lot of times we get stuck here, right? Like, oh, well, the brand is paying me X for a social media post, so I'm going to give them a social media post. No, you want to always over deliver. And so I, a lot of times, will on purpose, like, under promise in a contract, like, yeah, I'm going to give you a social media post on Instagram and a newsletter blast as part of your event sponsorship. And then that actually comes to fruition. Oh, I gave you a bonus. I also posted this, to my other newsletter list that has, 26,000 contacts on it. And I cross-posted this Instagram post to, these other 5 platforms, giving you an additional 15,000 views, just so because good. I'm really happy to be partnering with you. And so that makes them say, oh my gosh, like, of course we want to work with Amy again, because she just gives us so much more than we asked for.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. That's really, excellent. Really good. How do you keep these partnerships authentic, with long-term partnerships in mind?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, most of the time they're going to be products. I mean, almost always they're going to be products that, like, you use in your day-to-day life. So like, I worked with Harvest Snaps for multi-year partnership, and like, I love them. Like, we still buy them. And so my friends, like, my non-dietitian friends, they were like, oh, Amy loves Harvest Snaps so much. Like, and every time I went to their house, they'd have like a bowl for me. I was like, okay, this is extremely authentic. Nice. Like, even my friends know I eat this product, but like, that should be how, like, you would be buying this product or using this product regardless of if you're getting paid.
That's so
same
good.
thing. Like, I've partnered with Pendulum. They make this really amazing probiotic for blood glucose control. I have a family history of type 2 diabetes. So yeah, I'm going to try and do all the prevention I can. And I came to them because I use their product, not the other way around. So just have it be authentic. Like, once you get into that territory of it doesn't feel right to you, like, yeah, like, oh, this company is offering me $15,000, but I don't know, like, it has, sugar alcohols in it. And like, every time I eat sugar alcohols, oof, you don't want to be in the same house as me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not something you should partner with, just because it doesn't make sense for you.
Yeah. Like, it shouldn't feel forced. It shouldn't feel forced whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. And I think that helps too, as you said, to have a little more creativity too in the partnership, because if it's a brand that you're naturally using all the time, it's easier for you to come up with ideas and ways that you can continue to partner together.
Absolutely. And like, this life phases lend themselves to this, because we all go through, having, not everyone has a baby, but like, if you have a baby and then you go through the postpartum phase, and then maybe you're in perimenopause all of a sudden, like, and then you're in menopause. And so all of those and then you're retired, and like, all of those are different life phases, and they lend themselves to, okay, today I have a baby. So, hey, Boppy, hey, Mom Cozy. Tomorrow, I'm in perimenopause or menopause. Like, hey, estrogen supplement product, whatever, and so there's these authentic life moments too. And that's always, no matter what your niche is, like, that's, on Instagram, you have that kind of, pillar thing where 25% or so of the content you're posting is just your personal life. And that's usually what draws people in the most. But it could be like, hey, my family really loves to, go to this theme park that, has really healthy concession stand products. Like, there's a million different out of the box things, even entrepreneurial products. Like, I've known entrepreneurs to get like, really expensive like video products, have a partnership with those kinds of companies. It's really, if you can think of it, you can do it.
Opportunities are endless.
That's so great.
I love that.
Yeah. So Amy, when it comes to, maintaining these long-term relationships, you already kind of mentioned, underselling, over delivering. What are maybe 2 or 3 other things that you would say are like non-negotiables to maintain a long-term relationship?
I mean, think of the person that you're talking to on the brand side as a person. They are not a transaction. They're not, a bank account. They are a person just like you or me. And they have feelings and they're going through ups and downs of life. And so I say that because, like sometimes in a Zoom, someone will be like, oh, sorry, I'm late. My pipes just froze. Like, don't just be like, okay, so I have a pitch. Like, spend a few minutes talking about the human. Like, you'd be surprised, right? Have like one of the easiest things you can do is to send, it could even be like an email holiday card to your brand contacts. Like, just wish them a happy holiday. Like, show that little bit of humanness. Like, I have a list where we email our brand contacts like once or twice a month, like, hey, here are our new, well, actually every week, here are our new experts, like, here's what we have going on, how can we be of help to you? And so we're offering, like, that's a part of Master the Media that's always free, is like, oh, your brand needs a spokesperson and expert, let us connect you for free. And so have something where like it doesn't have to be that big, but like it could literally be that holiday card, right? That you're just doing because you want to be like the nice, awesome, thoughtful person that you are.
So good. I love that. Excellent tips.
Well, little touch points. I mean, those things are important. So kind of as we're wrapping things up, kind of in our last little section here, let's talk about your first paid partnership. So is there like a 90-day action plan that someone should take? Like,
give us the tea, Amy.
How do you do it? What do they need to know? What is the blueprint?
I love this. So I am actually hosting a brand new masterclass. It's totally free in 2 days. And it's all about how to bundle together to get those big numbers that we were talking about. So instead of having a brand hire you for, a $2,000 or $3,000 Instagram post, which sounds awesome, like have them hire you for a $25,000 partnership that includes social media and blog posts and testimonials and press releases. And so that's what we're teaching in this masterclass. And I'm just really excited because it means that you can make $50,000 in like the next 6 months. So that's like $100,000 in a year by just working with 2 or 3 brands, by having those big long-term partnerships.
So
and
good.
The link for that is masterthemedia.co/masterclass.
So good. I love
Take the masterclass, folks. Take it. I can say from experience, and I'm going to say this real quick, and this is when a time in my life where, I mean, I have a lot of experience just in general, just in practice, multiple years of being an entrepreneur, all those things, no regrets. One of the best programs I've ever taken. So if you guys really want to dip and dabble in the media and you want to go all in and be, fully media trained, this is definitely something that you should check out.
Thank you.
No second guesses.
And I think that, the media training aspect, because I always forget to talk about that because like we're called Master of the Media, right? So we media train everyone who goes through our program, because that's a lot of what you can do with brands is media stuff. You can go on TV on their behalf, for a brand. So we want you to be comfortable on camera. You can write an article for a brand. We want you to be comfortable with writing and pitching brands in that aspect. So that's what we do spend quite a while on that as well.
So good. Y'all be coachable. Really, really that's the thing. Be coachable.
Always.
Because there are people in this world that have expertise in these areas. And it's time you invest in something like that, period. Y'all know how we feel about investing in experts. Like, we do it, you should do it too. Like, if this is a passion of yours, I think this is so important for you guys, especially as you're starting out and like you're trying to get into the brand media space. Maybe you've been a healthcare professional for a while and you're trying to make a shift. Like, look into it. Amy, one thing you mentioned, and I've got to ask this is not on our script. I've got to ask this though. Okay, blog writing.
Gosh.
Those who have passion for writing in the
Uh-oh,
world of
I
AI.
I knew it.
What? Give us the tea. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, this is a great question. And I'm going to start with, I say the word blog post, and you might be like, are we talking about, the year 2010? But blog posts are back in style. So there were like a few years where brands were not touching them. And it's funny because, it's just funny. A lot of brands want expert written content. And I think it's because of this whole AI thing, because AI is crazy. I think it's a little scary sometimes too. But anyone can put together an AI written article about, what to eat for breakfast. But it might literally say like eat raw, tuna that's not sushi grade. Like, it might say something crazy.
Exactly.
And so we need the experts to actually give that advice that if you have the byline, if it says like, by, so-and-so dietitian, that's going to make that content rank higher in the Google algorithm. And so that's a big thing. But the other big thing is AI is extremely useful for so many things. I use it to help brainstorm, to do hashtag research. I do not use it to write articles or blog posts. And the reason is because, and this goes for media interviews too, if you use AI to answer a media query or to write a blog post, and the person on the other side has any kind of AI filter, you're going to get flagged as, oof, Amy just used AI for this. We don't trust her anymore. Bye, Amy.
So good.
And it's done, and your partnership is over, and you never get another chance. It's not worth it.
That's so good.
That's good. That's so good, because there is a lot of screening tools now, and you have to be really careful with that.
And and the screening tools are not honestly that great, which means that you could get flagged even if one sentence of your article or that you're writing is AI.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And sometimes it'll flag it even if it's not. I remember one time I wrote something and I put it in there because I was like, let me see. I was just trying out a new tool,
So
and I was like, why is this flagging me?
Through an AI filter, that's going to make it get flagged as AI. It's all crazy.
It's all, it's man, crazy. Amy. It's
Tech is taking over.
Yeah.
Tech is taking over.
Robots. iRobot.
Well, guys, you know that we don't gatekeep. Final question, and thank you, Amy, for not gatekeeping. That's one thing I really appreciate about you just as a human being, but even more so through your just very robust media program. So I can say, Bree has said, we have had programs in which we're just like, oh, we won't tell you this because blah, blah, blah. No, Amy doesn't do that. So props to you for that. Final question. What's one thing you wish more healthcare professionals understood about the value they bring to brands?
You bring value. I mean, honestly, it's as simple as that, because I get so frustrated on other healthcare professionals' behalf on just like, hey, I have 20 years of experience. I've never written a blog article. And so brands wouldn't want to work with me. And so if you feel timid, you're going to be timid. And this is the one area where you could be a not so great writer and you're still going to get work writing if you want to, because you're the expert and you have this gigantic leg up. You don't need, I have like 20 years of journalism experience. You don't need that. It helps, sure, but you don't need that to get, paid work as an expert. If you're really shy and don't want to be in front of the camera, I first of all urge you to try. Like, that's literally what we do in Master the Media, is we have you try everything, because I was pleasantly surprised way back when. I thought I would hate TV. I love it. But you try all the different things to see what you like. And maybe it's just like 100% consulting behind the scenes, helping a brand with their messaging. And that still pays, like, you could charge $300 to $500 an hour for your consulting because you're the expert. So I think just not just like don't undervalue your expertise. Even if you're brand new and you've been a dietitian or a doctor for like a minute, you still went to school for 5 million years to earn those credentials. So work it.
5 million, y'all.
So that's what it feels like. It does feel like that. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. Amy, thank you so much for joining us today. Y'all, that is the tea for today. I think one of the biggest takeaways that we have from this conversation, you don't have to become a full-time influencer. You don't have to have 100 million followers, would you say, Amy, to create brand partnerships?
Not at all. You just have to be you, have your expertise and credentials, and that is literally, and you just need the perseverance to jump into this and
So good. If you're listening today, listen, we want you to learn from the resources that Amy has dropped in here. She has her upcoming masterclass, as she mentioned. You can find that at masterthemedia.co/masterclass. She also has her free Facebook group for healthcare professionals who want to work with media and brands. You can find that through the link in our show notes. And of course, you can also check out her podcast. So again, she's got all the things going on, Master the Media podcast. Y'all check it out because again, there's lots of tea that she's sharing as well. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Also, congrats, new mommy Annabelle. Listen, you're a part of the mom club here at Mom Club Unite.
Mompreneurs.
Yes, come on. So thank you again, y'all. For those of you that follow us here, make sure you like and subscribe. Check out the YouTube channel. Tag us at Hot Tea with Uma and Bree. If you've got thoughts, if you're sharing this podcast with somebody else, y'all tag us, let us know. As you know, we're also still building and helping healthcare professionals build their entrepreneurship, build their businesses in our community. So all the things, y'all know we don't gatekeep. So thank y'all for listening with us today. Hot Tea with Uma and Bree, and we'll see you on the next episode. That's the tea.
Cheers. We do a little cheers. Dink.
Cheers.